Hey vinyl friends and vinyl community, it's Brian from Brian's Vinyl Records, and it's been a while. The summer's been quite busy for me. I haven't had a whole lot of time to do videos and really do a lot of record shopping. So what I'm going to show you today is everything that I've picked up from July up until recently here through September, and I kind of give you an idea of what I've been picking up. My habits have slowed down a little bit as far as picking up a bunch of stuff. So what you'll see here for 3 months is usually what I would have done previously in about a month and a half. So the damage is a lot, but considering it's 3 months worth, it's pretty good for me, I'd say. As you know, if you've been watching my videos, I did join the Dolly Parton track of Vinyl Me Please and have been picking those up every month, and super pleased with everything that they've done so far, and now really excited because as of September they're starting to put out those albums that either hadn't been pressed, only pressed one time, or are super hard to get. So I'm really excited for the upcoming titles in the Dolly Parton track of Vinyl Me Please. But let's talk about what we did pick up this last 3 months for Dolly Parton, and I'll start with one that's not part of the Vinyl Me Please catalog here, but I did get this at a very good price, and I have a copy of this already. This is Dolly Parton's Heartbreaker album. My copy that I currently have is torn all along here and glued back together, so I have a really ugly cover, and I saw this one, I think it was like $5. It's in perfect condition, so I just picked it up because it'll replace the one I have with the torn cover. So Dolly Parton's Heartbreaker album. Now we'll get into Vinyl Me Please here. We'll start with the records of the month. This one I believe was July's release. It is Just Because I'm a Woman, and a great one from Dolly Parton. It comes on this really nice, they call it a yellow galaxy. What does she call it? She calls it Canary Yellow Galaxy vinyl. Sounds fantastic, looks fantastic. This one is not a gatefold. It is a single sleeve album with the, of course, Dolly Parton Obi strip on it. Very nice. Happy to have this. I did have a early pressing of this one already, but this one sounds way better, so happy to have that on there. In August, they put out Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 and Other Odd Jobs album. Of course, the soundtrack to the movie 9 to 5 with big hit 9 to 5 on it. Just really good. This is a gatefold. Comes on this orange. This one is called Rising Sun Galaxy vinyl. Obi strip, of course. Dolly on the back. Really happy to have this. I did have a copy of this as well in my collection, but again, this one sounds way better. And in September, like I said, I was super excited because as of September, they now are releasing some of these albums that are harder to get or only been pressed 1 or 0 times. This is one that was never pressed on vinyl before. Super pumped about that. This is Backwoods Barbie from Dolly Parton. This is a 2008 album that she did, and it comes in a gatefold sleeve on this nice color there. She calls this one Hot Pink Galaxy vinyl. Super excited to have that. Yeah, pretty awesome. Sounds excellent as well. And of course, obviously never had that one before. And then they also have been releasing a couple of other albums that are not part of the track of Dolly Parton, but this one was awesome. This is Dolly Parton's For God and Country. This one I don't believe has ever been on vinyl either, so I was really excited to see that. And then you got the red, white, and blue. She calls it red, white, and bluegrass vinyl on this one. So this is also a single sleeve cover, but fantastic stuff. All patriotic type songs, covers and originals from Dolly. All right, some other albums that I picked up. I was really excited. Now I have an original pressing of this from South Korea, but when this was announced, I just had to get it because I wanted to see what all the hype was, because all I've heard is how amazing the Music on Vinyl pressing of this sounds. And I can tell you the hype is real. The Music on Vinyl press of 3 Sides to Every Story by Extreme, their 3rd album, fantastic double album, and man, this sounds absolutely killer from Music on Vinyl. So I'm super glad that I went ahead and bought this anyway, even though I already had an OG pressing. It sounds awesome. Brand new album from Morgan Wade. If you don't know who Morgan Wade is, country music singer, Americana type style, fantastic. Highly, highly recommend that you go and seek out her first album and then pick this up. This is Psychopath. Just came out this year, and it's awesome. It's really good. She's just a phenomenal songwriter, and really enjoyed learning about her last year and now getting more involved. Next up, Kelsea Ballerini dropped a surprise EP on her fans earlier this, it must have been late last year, after she announced that her and her husband were divorcing. And this is kind of like the journey to that process. It's a 5-song EP, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's super emotional, and it is great. It's called Rolling Up the Welcome Mat, Kelsea Ballerini, and super glad that she put this on vinyl because it didn't sound like she was going to do that originally. These compilations are pretty cool, and this one is no exception. Now that's what I call 90s pop. This is one I got at Target. I don't know if it's a Target exclusive. This is a Target exclusive limited edition, but I'm not sure if that means it's exclusive all the way to Target. But this is awesome. It's got, Spice Girls, Bryan Adams, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Lenny Kravitz, Aerosmith, Salt-N-Pepa, Extreme, All for One, Whitney Houston, Usher, Alana Miles, Boyz II Men, just a whole bunch of really great 90s pop tracks. And if you know, I was a metalhead for most of the 90s, but I was top 40 radio up until I turned into a metalhead. So a lot of this is stuff I listen to as well. Super good compilation, and they do a great job with those, I think. Up next, the brand new album from Wolfgang Van Halen. This is Mammoth 2, and again, he knocks it out of the park. His first album was absolutely fantastic. If you like that, you're going to love this. Another great release from Wolfgang Van Halen. This time he has a full band with him, so I don't believe he played all the instruments on this. Well, yeah, it looks like he might have. So if you know the first album, he played every instrument on it. It looks like, according to this, it looks like he played all the instruments on this too for the most part. So just a super talented human being. He'd make his father proud, I'm sure, if Eddie was still with us. But great album. Highly recommend both of his releases. Another new album from Greta Van Fleet. This is called Starcatcher. This one is on the clear vinyl. I don't know. I think it might be an indie vinyl, but picked this one up, and I like it a lot. These guys, I think, are fantastic. A lot of people like to compare them to Led Zeppelin or Rush or whatever. Who cares? They sound great, and Led Zeppelin's not around anymore making music, so why not have someone who can keep that spirit going and make great music? I like it. So Greta Van Fleet, Starcatcher, great album. Aerosmith put out a couple different variations of this, the greatest hits. I believe there's a box set version with 4 LPs in it. I didn't need all that. After looking through the track lists, this one had pretty much everything I wanted, so I picked up the Target exclusive on this. What's interesting to me is that I think Walmart has the same exclusive vinyl pattern anyway, but it says Target exclusive on it, red with black splatter. Sounds killer. I think they did an excellent job on the mastering of this album, and great song selections. The only one I would have kept off is a live version of Ragdoll. I would rather have had the studio version on here instead, but great Aerosmith greatest hits. They have multiple different versions. I think they even have a 1 LP version if you want that as well. So Taylor Swift, it continues to put out her previous albums re-recorded to gain back her rights, and the latest one is Speak Now. Of course, in October we get 1989, so I'll definitely be picking that up, but this is the one that came out, I believe, in July. Speak Now is one of my favorite of her older albums. I think it's an absolutely fantastic album. She put it out on the purple vinyl here, lavender, whatever you want to call it, and it sounds fantastic. She did a great job. This is the first one I think I've noticed that she did a rewrite. on one of the songs, but otherwise, fantastic job. The song was the Revenge song, Better Than Revenge, something like that. And she rewrote one of the lines where originally it said, she's better known for the things that she does on her mattress. She changed it to something along the lines of, she's like a moth to a flame and he's holding the matches, something like that. But I figured some of these older albums she's going to have to rewrite some of her lines because they're just not very politically correct these days, I guess you could say. Next up, the brand new album from Matchbox 20. Pick this up. This one's called Where the Light Goes. I haven't listened to it enough to give a real good opinion on it. When I listened to it the first time, I enjoyed the vibe of the album, but I do need to revisit some more to kind of really feel how it is for me. But I have everything else they've done, so I figured I might as well pick up the brand new album from them. So that. This next one is a local gentleman who works at one of my favorite record stores down the valley. His name is Adam Welly, and this is his latest album. We talked all about the process of the album as he was putting it together, because I had just put my album out and he was working on his, and I hooked him up with the company that pressed mine, and he went with the same company, did the longer version of the pressing, but turned out really, really good. The company does an absolutely phenomenal job with pressing the records. Quality is great, sound is phenomenal, and they're dead quiet, so awesome. This is latest Disgrace, So Very Gone. Check it out. It's kind of a post-punk or hardcore type music, but very, very good listen. And he put it out on a nice little blue vinyl as well. Next up, Alanis Morissette put out her greatest hits album from several years back. It was nice to see that get a vinyl pressing. It's called The Collection, and this is the Target version on purple vinyl, kind of a mauve maybe, but sounds absolutely fantastic, and I really like this compilation that she put together. Some really good sounds on there, plus it has a cover of Seal's Crazy that is absolutely fantastic if you have not heard her version of that. Next up, I did this on a whim. I heard this is an absolutely fantastic album, so I bought Buckcherry's brand new album, Hellbound. Now they have another one coming out real soon called 10, but this was the one that was out recently, and I can say I really enjoyed listening to this one, more than I have in a while for a lot of their stuff, so they kind of went back to that classic sound on this, and it's really well done. Enough's Enough have been slowly releasing their albums. This one I picked up from their Bandcamp site. It's called Peach Fuzz. It is a limited edition peach vinyl. And this is a band that I never really listened to, other than obviously Fly High Michelle, which was on the radio. Other than that, I never really gave them much thought. And then someone kept telling me I should check them out, and I ended up buying their first album and really enjoyed it. So I bought another one, and then another one, and another one. And I've slowly been picking these up as they've been putting them out, and they're really good. They're power, I would say like a power, what do you want to say, power pop, in the vein of a Cheap Trick. They're heavily influenced by the Beatles, hard rock obviously, but they're fantastic. I really enjoyed everything I've bought from them so far, and the vocalist is fantastic in that band. All right, Samantha Fish. We was really surprised to see that this had gotten re-released finally, but Rough Records had put out one of her older albums called Wild Heart. This one sounds really good. I was super happy to see this one and was able to pick it up on a third party through Amazon. But Samantha Fish, awesome blues guitarist, awesome singer, and just great artist. Really enjoy her stuff. So this one I had only on CD before, so happy to finally get the vinyl on that. Next up, this is one I bought just purely for two songs, and this is Limp Bizkit, and this one is Significant Other. Has one of my favorite songs, just when you're in a bad mood, just put this on. The song's called Break Stuff, and it makes you feel better. You just scream things out, and it's awesome. So I believe this one also has Nookie on it, which was the big hit off of this one. So Limp Bizkit, picked that one up. Next up, this one I debated on getting for a long time and finally decided I really should. And I'm glad I did. It's a good album. It's not my favorite of theirs, and it is really good. It's Nine Inch Nails, Downward Spiral. It is a great album. It just has a lot of stuff on here that I didn't care for, filler-wise, but overall, it's a great, enjoyable listening experience. Pretty Hate Machine will always be my favorite by Nine Inch Nails, and Broken will be my second favorite, but this will be my third, and I'm glad I picked it up finally. Next up, this is the Allman Brothers, Hittin' the Note. This is one of the later band albums in the 2000 era for them, with Warren Haynes on guitars, Butch Trucks, and it's a good album. It's fantastic. No big hits, I don't think, off this one, but I got it for a pretty good price, and I love the Allman Brothers, so no brainer for me on that one. Next up, I kept getting told that this is the album I want to get for a live album from Drive By Truckers, and so I finally pulled the trigger and picked it up. This is Plan 9, live at Plan 9. This is one of the final shows that Jason Isbell ever performed with the Drive By Truckers. He had a lot of problems with drinking and everything else, and it led to him leaving the band, and so I picked this up. This is super well recorded, phenomenal sound on here, and really a good album if you like their stuff. They play a lot of really great songs on this live cut. Next up, this is one that I've been avoiding for a long time, had just never picked it up, and finally decided to go ahead and get it, and it was discounted well enough where I decided it was worth the price. It's Bob Dylan's Triplicate. The reason I didn't pick it up most of the time is because it's just Bob Dylan recording standards, and I'll be honest, it's just not my thing, and I don't know, it's actually pretty good. The sound quality is fantastic, but I don't know how often I'm going to sit and listen to this one because I'm just not a big standards guy. It's just not my forte. Next up, this I found in the Amazon warehouse. This is Rush's Fly By Night. I have an older copy that's pretty well beat up. This is brand new. Someone returned it because of the seam split you can see right there, and that was all that was wrong with it. 180 gram reissue from the DMM stuff. Couldn't go wrong with that, so picked up Rush Fly By Night. The next one I picked up, this was was really excited about. This is a bootleg, or I guess you can call it a broadcast release from AC/DC from their 1985 tour for Fly on the Wall. And I like this because it has a lot of songs that normally they don't play in concert anymore. And so it was fun to kind of hear them fresh from recording the album playing these songs. It's called Reunion Dallas, recorded at the Reunion in Dallas, and broadcast on the radio. So this is from that broadcast. Sound quality is fantastic, and it comes on a nice, pretty, translucent red vinyl. So super happy to pick that up. The next two I'm going to show you are counterfeits, or unofficials, or European imports, whatever someone wants to call it. First one is Badlands, Dusk. This is the album that came out many years after the band had broken up. Ray Gillen was dead by that time, and this was all stuff that they recorded for a third album before they got dropped by the record company. And this one sounds pretty good. You know, it's a counterfeit, but it never got a release, so I think maybe a couple CDs were put out later, but white vinyl, it never got a vinyl release, and I think they did a pretty good job with this one. This is an album that will never ever see the light of day again, so the only way you're going to get it is by picking up this unofficial copy of the album. So Badlands, Dusk, pretty good stuff. And this one, unless the company that bought the rights to all the stuff also bought Vince Neil's rights, this will never see the light of day either. And then a original pressing of this is way too expensive. Vince Neil Exposed. This looks phenomenal. They did an excellent job on the artwork of this album, and they did a really good job on the pressing. I think it comes on a nice natural color vinyl, clear vinyl, and I think it sounds great. The only thing wrong with this is they left off one of the songs, which I thought was kind of weird, but otherwise sounds awesome and super fun to listen to. It's an album I really enjoyed when it came out. All right, let's talk about a couple of albums that I was super excited about, a couple grails, I guess you could say. The first one, this one just came in recently, and this album, 1994, NKOTB, formerly New Kids on the Block. This is called Face the Music. This album was never released on vinyl in the United States, except for this. This is a promotional white label promo copy of the album, and that was the only way it was ever put out in the United States. There are some European pressings and a South Korean pressing that were made when it was released, but the US, they just never put it out on vinyl, and this was the only way to get it. I found this on Discogs and jumped at the opportunity to pick it up. It is, like I said, a promo copy, and it sounds fantastic. It's just one of those albums that they had fallen out of favor with fans. They tried to reinvent themselves. It didn't really work, I would say, and it wasn't until for another 15 years or so before they finally put out another album after that. And then next up, Guns N' Roses, GNR Lies. This is the uncensored cover of this album. It's a US pressing, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. I have a Canadian pressing with the uncensored cover, but it has a little bit of static and noise, and I saw this and the price was super cheap on it. I jumped on it, and I'm super happy to have this. It's in the shrink still, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And so this one was, in fact, when I got this, I believe it was still sealed, so that was pretty cool. Sealed copy, paid next to nothing for it, and I was super impressed. All right, this is what I wanted on Record Store Day last April, and it was one of those that was limited to, or they said limited to 750 copies. Every place that got one maybe got 1 or 2 copies, and that was it. Then all of a sudden, copies just magically started appearing at random record stores in bunches, like 3, 4, 5 at a time. And so I talked to my local record store, and I said, hey, I'm showing all these record stores online showing that they're getting Randy Macho Man Savages again. And so he looked into it, and sure enough, he was able to pull in, I think, 5 copies from his distributor that magically were found. So it makes me kind of wonder if the limited edition 750 was limited to 750, or if they, did a whole bunch more, and just in case there were some issues, and then released them again. But this is Macho Man's Be a Man, Record Store Day exclusive on the purple vinyl. If you don't know, Macho Man, obviously a pro wrestler from the 80s and 90s, famous feud with Hulk Hogan, and that feud was not only a wrestling storyline, but many times it was real life. And at this point in Macho Man's life, he was in a feud with Hulk Hogan in real life, and he put out this album, and on here, the title track is Be a Man, and it is directed at Hulk Hogan. He explicitly calls Hogan out multiple times, and it's a diss of Hulk Hogan rap song. Now, you'd expect this to be pretty crappy, nothing to it, and just a nostalgia thing. But I tell you what, it's actually a really good album, and he does a damn good job rapping on this thing. I was totally impressed. The music isn't bad, the songs aren't bad, his flow isn't bad. Why not? I was glad I picked it up. Macho Man, Be a Man. Next up is the next in the series of Slaughter albums being reissued by Kiss My Wax Records. They did an absolutely amazing job on Fear No Evil, which is my favorite Slaughter album. And this is the second Slaughter album with the Wildlife. And they put it out on a red and white vinyl gatefold. Beautiful cover, beautiful artwork, and the sound is utterly fantastic. We waited a good year year and a half maybe for this to come out after pre-ordering it. Well worth the wait. These guys do an absolutely great job on their stuff, and I'm not sad at all that I had to wait that long, but great job. Kiss My Wax, Slaughter the Wildlife. All right, now we'll finish things off with Japanese pressings and call it a day. Sorry for the long video, guys, but like I said, just things aren't conducive right now. So we'll start with this. I picked this one up. It says Dio, Sacred Heart. Not his best album, and missing the obi, but it is a Japanese pressing, and because it's missing the obi, I got it for a very good price and decided to go ahead and pick that up. Not my favorite, like I said, of Dio's, but Dio is good no matter what. Got this for a really good price. Had to jump on it. This is Carly Simon's Anticipation album. I believe this was her second solo album that she put out back in the 70s. And I really like that obi. I think it's a really cool looking obi. So super excited to have that. Sounds absolutely fantastic. Next up, I got Special Forces by 38 Special. Again, got a really good deal on this one. And it has what's the hit off this one? Caught Up in You. Great tune. And 38 Special Southern Rock. Really good stuff. Don Henley's Building a Perfect Beast. Of course, Boys of Summer is the hit track on this one, as well as Dancing. Oh goodness, can't think of anything these days. Boys of Summer. All She Wants to Do Is Dance. That's the other one that was a big hit out of this one. Good album. And happy to have a Japanese pressing of that. Next up, I grabbed Eric Clapton's 461 Ocean Boulevard. And a fantastic album. I Shot the Sheriff was the big hit off of this one. And you got Motherless Child, which is a great one. Willie and the Hand Jive. Yeah, those are the big ones off of this album. But love grabbing Clapton Japanese pressings when they show up. I also grabbed the Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East. Again, fantastic album. And it's a classic stuff from the Allman Brothers. So happy to grab that. And last but certainly not least, this one was pretty cool. Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz with the Japanese obi, Jet Records. Phenomenal. So that's it. That's everything I picked up in July, August, and September. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Hopefully I will find time now that school is in session and everything's going on, that I'll be able to do more videos with different types of content going forward. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, keep spinning vinyl, friends.